What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today we're going to be testing out Wagner's airless sprayer, the Control Pro 150. Let's get straight into it, guys. Let's do this. Alright guys, I've wanted to test this unit out for a very long time now. We're finally going to open it up, put it together and put it to the test today. If you haven't seen my previous review on the 350M, I purchased that about a year and a half ago. It is an awesome unit. It is definitely more expensive than this one here, but it does allow you a few extra features that this one here doesn't. The other one I paid $1,150. This one here retails at about $400 to $450. So definitely a very cheap entry point for an airless sprayer. Let's open it up and see just how well this one here works. So a couple of things before we start. This one here doesn't allow you to suck or to draw out of a paint tin compared to the 350M. This one here has a little built-in hopper on the top of it. You pour about 4 to 5 litres of paint at a time in the top of it, and then you can get away on your spraying. Now, one other thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, and we're about to find out how well it handles different applications. The 350M has a dial on there so you can adjust the PSI or the pressure. This one here doesn't. It's basically set at one fixed PSI or one fixed pressure. So we've got a tip that comes in with it, which is the 515. The 350M came with 2 tips. I think it was the 311 and 516 from memory, 516, 517, somewhere along the lines of that. Very, very similar to what we've got here. Here we've got the 515 for all your general purpose painting, your ceilings, your walls. So we're going to test this one here out. And this one here is the unit, all ready to go. We can get rid of this box. Now this is a really nice, convenient unit. The size of it is unreal. Hopefully it performs as well as I'm expecting, especially because my expectations are so high after using the Wagner 350M. I've had it for about a year and a half and I've had no issues with it. I'm still using it till now, which means that it's survived a year and a half of my abuse, which means pretty much everybody out there will get a very long time out of it. So for me, it paid itself off after 1 or 2 jobs. This one here will definitely be very interesting to see how well it works, especially because it's so compact and small. I'm pretty sure the cleaning is going to be a lot easier with this one here as well because it's got a built-in hopper. We can just clean everything straight out of this hopper itself. So let's open it up and see what's inside here. Make sure you guys can see. I might actually come in a bit closer. Alright, so we'll open it up. This is the lid for the hopper here. Pretty flexible. This is basically designed to keep your components all inside when you're storing it and to prevent anything from falling in while you're using the product. So we've got our hose here. I think from memory this one here might be a 10 or a 15 meter hose. I might have to double check and let you guys know. See what it says on the box here. The other one I think from memory had a 15 meter hose, which was super convenient. I just basically set up the unit in the main section of the house or in the middle of the house and I could extend that hose out. This one here is actually 7.5 meters, so it's still a fair good stretch. You'll definitely be able to paint a whole room before having to move the unit around. So this here is our hose. We've got our instructions that I really love to read. I might actually read this one here because it's nice and simple. We've only got 1 page, not like the last one. We had an absolute huge manual for the 350M. So we've got our guard here. Just got to be careful because there's something loose inside, which is, okay, so that's there, that goes back in. And now we've got our handle. Now the handle looks a little bit different to the 350M. This one here feels a bit cheaper, to be honest. The other one on the 350M is a really good quality spray gun, but this one here will hopefully do the job. The other one is actually really, really nice and ergonomic, small trigger for just 2 fingers. So it's got a cap already on there. That's pretty much it. We have a look inside. You can see down there we've got our strainer. Our little button here to help prime it or to push the material through. We've got our return valve up on top, on and off switch, prime and spray model now, or spray mode. So we've got our little connection here for our hose. So I'll quickly undo the hose. Be very, very careful if you're using a utility blade. The last thing you want to do is to cut into your hose. And the only tool we might actually need is an adjustable wrench. So I might just quickly grab an adjustable wrench. Alright, so if we grab our hose, you'll notice there's a cap on both sides. Now one is a male and one is a female end, so you can't really get this wrong. We'll unscrew our unit side and we'll simply thread this one here on. Now I'll quickly try and get into setting this up as fast as possible and show you guys a few different things that we can do with this. Now originally I wasn't planning on spraying today, to be honest. I've got a house here that we're painting completely. The floors are being redone, the lights are being changed, everything's being redone in this house. So I'm not too concerned about drop sheets and light fittings and things like that and overspray. Hopefully there's not too much overspray here. But like I said, I wasn't going to be spraying today. I was planning on using my new jumbo roller that I've picked up. So standard size roller is 270. I've picked up a 460, so you can see it's almost twice the size. So I was thinking to just go ahead and roll all the ceilings in, but I might actually spray one room in the house just to show you guys how well this one here works. We've also got a few other ceilings with a lot more detail and trim work in there. That would have been an absolute nightmare to do by hand, but using a traditional brush and roller. So the spray gun is going to come in very handy. I might actually spray in some shelves as well in the cupboards. So this one here is going to be an all-round type of unit that anybody, any DIYer, anybody, that little contractor, even for me, I'm considering using this one here as long as it performs the way I'm hoping it does. In small projects, anytime I need to carry a lot of material out of the vehicle and get up into those high-rise buildings or complex or anything like that. So that's what I really want to try this one here out for. Anyway, enough talking. So we'll quickly untangle this one here. Now I'm assuming the filter is already inside. So I'm not sure how this one here comes together just yet. So we'll release that one, and our filter is inside. So it comes with a yellow filter. Now interestingly, on the 350M we get a red filter and a white filter. The white filter was designed to be used with the 511 tip, so any of your walls, ceilings, and the red filter was designed for using any kind of trim or enamel paint or anything like that. I think even stains as well. This one here might be an all-round type of filter that can accept both materials, so it might be a mid-range type of filter, but I might have to find out about that one and let you guys and fill you guys in on what's going on there. So let's put this one here back inside, tighten everything up because the filter is already in there, there's nothing to do. Tighten it back up. Clip our handle back in. And we can now install our actual handle, all the threads for the hose. Alright, I think we're ready to start. I'm just quickly read the instructions because it's only one page, it's the only reason why. Alright, so I'm going to quickly install my guard. I've had a quick read of that instruction manual, which was pretty straightforward, to be honest. Remembering you can change the pattern of your spray by simply rotating it either vertically or horizontally. So the main concept from what I can tell here is when you start this unit, firstly start off with water. So we need to just fill that up until our little filter here is completely covered with water. So if you guys can see, there's a little white filter down here, a little bit hard to tell, but there's a white filter down here. Press it a couple times, a little presser on top, and we've got our unit plugged in. Now we're going to put it onto prime. So up the top is prime, and then it's got a little spray feature here, which means that's our spray section. Turn it on and we should suck up the water from the bottom here and should come out the return. Alright, so now we've got that one there ready to go. We'll press this a couple more times because it does indicate to press it a couple more times afterwards. Must be an important step, so make sure you press that button. Start it off with water first. I'm going to get rid of this excess water. That's what I like about it. It's nice and convenient. See how small it is? I'm assuming cleaning it's going to be very similar in terms of how easy it is because it's all in the hopper. I can just pour out that excess paint or scoop it all out, clean it as much as possible before running water through it. So now we can start putting through our paint. Now I'm using a Dulux ceiling paint. So we've got Dulux ceiling paint here. Hopefully we don't need to thin any of this material out. The Wagner 350 didn't require any kind of thinning of the paints. Everything worked perfectly. And I was using very thick paint at that time. So we'll pour some of this in here. We've got there about 4 litres. I think the capacity from memory was about 5, between 4 and 5 anyway. So now we've got a spare bucket. We're going to take our return valve, put that into a little bucket here. We're going to switch the unit on once again, back onto prime. It's going to push through whatever water was left over in the unit into the bucket. Once I see paint, I'll then switch it off, move my hose back into the hopper, and then we can switch it over onto spray mode. So make sure it's still on prime, turn it on. And that didn't take long at all. So now I've got just paint coming out. I'll wait for that to slow down so I don't make a mess. Alright, now we've got our return back and you can see there wasn't much water in there at all. So if I press it again while it's on prime, you don't need to, but you can see that it's just paint coming back through now. Alright, so at this point we can now put the lid back on. That's going to prevent any mess from going into it. Switch it over onto spray mode. Turn it back on and the hose should start filling up with pressure and then we should be ready to spray. And I can feel that now pressurized, ready to go. So just quickly, when you install the tip, just make sure it's facing the right way. You can see there it's got an arrow pointing forward. That's the direction of the spray. If you do happen to get a block halfway through, you can rotate it back, spray it into a bucket, that'll clear the blockage, and then turn it back the direction that you want. So we're just going to quickly test it out on this wall here. Make sure we're happy with everything before we start painting on the ceiling. So the lighting is pretty bad in here. It's about to storm outside. So hopefully you guys can see. Alright, we'll test it out on the wall. Very nice. That's exactly what we're after, guys. Let's go test it out on the ceiling. So I'll quickly show you guys a couple areas that we're going to be spraying now. Usually when I roll ceilings, I try and avoid as much as possible having to paint all my cornices, also known as coving. So in order to avoid having to manually paint that all with the brush, I tend to get the sprayer. I'll spray all the cornices all the way around the room, and then if I'm going to roll, all I have to do is just simply roll in the ceilings. Everything's already cut in then because I've just got a nice feathered spray all the way around on the cornices, and that's what I love to do when doing the ceilings. It saves so much time by doing it that way. And you can see here in the laundry where it's got Orvilla board up on the ceiling. A lot of the older houses have a piece of timber or trim that goes across the joints, or across the seams. So that is an absolute nightmare to paint, especially during using a roller, because you have to use a brush to get around all that trim work, all the way around, even here in the manhole. This is going to be an absolute nightmare to do using a brush and roller. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spray this whole area. This whole ceiling here is going to be sprayed. Before you guys comment, the light fittings are all being replaced. That's why I've just simply loosened them up a bit so that they're not touching the ceiling. That way they won't seal shut onto the ceiling once I spray it, and we can put in a nice big light up onto the ceiling. So I'm going to spray this ceiling here. We're going to spray some cornices in another room. And I'm also going to use it for spraying into these cupboards. Now you can see just how tight everything is here. To get in here with a brush and a little roller, it's going to be an absolute nightmare to go through all of this, every single section, all these shelves. So I'm planning on spraying all throughout here. Whether or not I can spray using the 511 tip or the 515 tip that they've provided us with this 150, I'm not too sure yet. Just depends. If it's spraying a bit too much, I don't want to cause any kind of runs or anything to go through this cupboard. So I might, depending on how we go, I might include it in this video, or I might pick up a 211 tip probably tomorrow or the day after, and then I'll upload a different video. But for now, let's go test out the other ones and we'll see how well it sprays. Alright guys, so I've just finished spraying that ceiling and surprisingly it come up really nice, especially for $450 entry level airless sprayer. I'm going to show you guys what kind of finish we achieved here. Now keeping in mind that if I was to do this with a brush and a roller, it would have taken me at least 30 minutes and it would have been a really painful job up on a ladder trying to cut in all that trim. But let's have a look and I'll show you guys the finish. So if you have a look there, there's a bit of glare coming in through the window. But we've got a really nice finish here on the ceiling all the way through. Very impressive. Nicely feathered off. Now all that trim work here, that would have been an absolute nightmare. Let's go to another room and we'll test it out again. Alright guys, so we're going to spray this room here. As you can tell, the walls are absolutely disgusting. We're also painting the ceiling here, but what I usually do is I usually spray the cornices, and the reason why I do this is it saves me so much more time rather than using a bucket and a brush up on a ladder trying to paint all these cornices, also known as coving. To paint it all by brush, probably take me about 25-30 minutes and then follow through with the roller. Now I can spray this complete ceiling, but I like to still roll my ceilings, and the reason for that, especially when it's an investment property, anytime you come back for any future repairs, if you've got a minor leak or a minor damage that needs to be touched up on the ceiling, you're gonna have to pull out the sprayer again to spray the ceiling. I mean, it makes it a lot easier now that we've got a small compact unit, but still, I would rather be able to just patch up that little area, especially if the ceilings are still fresh, using a roller. Because if we use the sprayer on the ceiling here, if you try and use the roller just on a small area here, there's no way you're going to be able to blend it. Spray versus roller, you're not going to get the exact same finish. So I'm going to quickly spray all these cornices here, get it ready for me to roll using my jumbo rollers, and then we're going to spray this whole wall. So it's going to be interesting to see just how well the coverage is on this wall. Remembering we're only going to use one coat at this point in time, and we're using ceiling paint. So I'm going to go back over using the correct paint, a low sheen, wash and wear type of paint up on here on the walls, especially because this is how they end up. Definitely don't use ceiling paint on walls, but I just wanted to show you guys. We'll check what kind of coverage we can achieve by using the sprayer. Alright guys, so I'm going to leave it up to you. Have a look at the difference right there and you tell me whether this unit is worth $450 or not. Honestly, it's like a mirror and I'm really impressed with this and I'm super excited because there's so many projects that this is going to be so much more convenient to take around than the 350M. The 350M works a lot better because you can adjust the pressure on it and it's got a longer hose, but at the end of the day for small projects this one here is going to be really handy, easy to just put in your bag, and if I finish up on a job site and I can't be bothered cleaning it on the spot, I'll simply wrap it up in a plastic bag, take it home and do it whenever I can get around to it. But you tell me guys, have a look at the finish on that. Very, very nice. $450, not too bad. Now if you guys want to see the interior of the cupboard being sprayed using enamel paint, also using water-based, but I have to pick up a 211 tip, let me know in the comment section below guys. So there you have it guys, the Control Pro 150, awesome little unit, $450. I've now painted a wall and a ceiling with it. Perfect results. I want to see how well it works using enamel paint. So tomorrow I'm going to pick up that 211 tip and test it out on the cupboards because that's going to save me a lot of time, a lot of grief. Washing it out shouldn't be a problem as well because I'm using water-based, and because I'm going to be using this back again tomorrow morning, easy little way to get around it without having to clean everything out is just to simply put the handle in a bag. That's going to help store it, preserve it, no air's going to get to that. And when I come back tomorrow morning, it's ready to go. I can just simply turn it on and start spraying. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Honest review on Wagner's Control Pro 150, which I'm pretty sure the 130 is the same product to be honest, but it surprisingly works pretty well. It's going to be interesting to see how it works with a 211 tip, simply because we can't control the amount of pressure that comes out. We're just basically controlling it with the tip itself. So that'll be interesting to see. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the videos and you're learning something new. As always guys, like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching Billshowto.